Hey guys, this is Holistic Health with Harry, and today I'm joined by a very special guest from the USA, Laurie. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Yeah, nice to meet you. Well, we know each other for a while on Facebook, and we've become more closer, I guess, connected with the root stuff. But I want to rewind back in time,
Mhm.
um, to I guess to ask you, all that you're doing now. Where was there a beginning point, and did you have an awakening, and when would this be?
That's a lot of question. Uh, did I have an awakening point? Yes, I did. Um, I I have always struggled with health issues. I came into a body that just was extremely sensitive. Kind of didn't really know how to work right from the get-go. I am fully vaccinated according to the vaccines that were recommended at my age. Am I vax injured? I don't know, maybe, possibly. I do know that I have Epstein-Barr.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know if that's the cause. I don't know if the vaccines are the cause. I don't know if it's everything that's the cause. But by the time I was 15, in addition to health issues and a really significant trauma that occurred when I was 13, my GI system really started to scream in a sense. And I do mean that literally. I had a very sharp pain in my chest. And the only time it would go away is when I swallowed.
Hmm.
And of course, nobody could tell me what it was. Nobody could tell me what was wrong with me, blah, 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 medications, blah, blah, blah. We all know that story. By the time I was 20, I either had food poisoning or I just got the flu one night, but I became very sick. And I kind of never really got better after that. And that was really a turning point for me because there was an emotional trauma associated with the physical illness and rapid weight loss and just never really getting better at that point is really was really life changing for me. I was 20 years old. And of course, I saw the doctors, did all the tests, had all the labs, everything's fine. So ultimately, because doctors failed me, I felt like I was on my own. And I just started digging into other forms of medicine that I didn't even know existed. I all I knew was doctors and drugs. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. Here in the US, 90% of the population can probably relate to that. We take our symptoms to a doctor, we get a drug, and we feel better. Only they didn't have any drugs to offer me because there was nothing wrong. And I didn't want them anyway because I just wasn't a fan of pharmaceuticals. So I started really diving into what in the world is wrong with me and what can I do for my body. And a few years later, I met a woman who really kind of sparked the rest of my healing journey. She did reflexology and herbal supplements and homeopathics and oils. And it was a whole world that I didn't know anything about. That led me to a naturopathic doctor who started me on some cleanses that were so intense that I'm grateful we have more options now.
Hmm.
And I also kind of, well, not even kind of, I also really started digging into the emotional, mental, spiritual healing because I was doing okay with the cleanses. I was doing okay with the herbs, but I was just so sick that I was like, there's got to be more to this. I have to find a way to get better. And I have learned that I'm also very impatient. When I want to get well, I want to get well. And
Yeah.
I know a lot of people can relate to that too. When we don't feel good, we just want to feel better. And we want to feel better now. That was, mind you, I was 20 and I am now 53. It's been a very long, bumpy road full of a lot of sweat and a lot of tears.
20, 53 is 33 years in the game. Free, free.
33 years. And you know what's uncanny is that I have helped so many people heal during that time, and I couldn't find the thing for me. It wasn't until a few years ago that I finally found a doctor to really do some invasive lab work and really start digging into my blood to try to figure out what in the world is the disconnect within my body. And I don't know that I'm fully there yet, but I do have one of those MTHFR gene mutations
Oh,
that
yeah.
makes it very difficult for my body to naturally detox. So that
Yeah.
really shed a lot of light on what in the world is going on inside of my body.
Hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. So you had Epstein-Barr, and I've heard of that gene defect, which makes it harder to detox. And if you're harder to detox,
Yeah.
then that means, I guess, simple brain, that the toxins and poisons already in you are coming out much slower than most people's. So they're stuck in you. You have to try
I
harder.
call it retox. Yeah, I just call it
Detox.
retox. It just
Right.
keeps circulating and circulating and circulating and doing more damage and doing more damage and
Did
doing
it
more
feel like that?
damage.
Well, I mean, that's logically what would
Yes.
happen. So it felt like that. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, yes. It just, so from the time that I was 20 to now, I'd get sick and just kind of never get better. And then I'd get sick again and I'd kind of never get better. And I just felt like on a graph, you're just going down, 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 down.
Hmm.
By 2015, I actually had to quit/get fired from my job because my brain just did not work anymore. I was
Really?
so
Yeah.
toxic that I was forgetting really important essential things at work.
Hmm.
And my boss is like, can you come in here and talk to me? And I walked in and I started crying and I said, I need to leave. I cannot support you. And the company that I was working for at the time was headed into a $1.2 million expansion. And she really needed me. And I knew I couldn't be there for her because my brain left the building.
Hmm.
And I didn't truly understand why. I couldn't find anybody to help me understand why. All of my research wasn't helping me. I'm sure it was a combination of this MTHFR thing, but because the course of my life had gone on with so much toxicity, it really started to hit my thyroid.
Right.
And if you know anything about Hashimoto's thyroiditis, brain fog, confusion,
Weird. I was going to
memory.
ask you what was the symptoms of your brain, and I've met people, some of my friends actually are like that, and even me, if I'm being honest, something there. But I don't think it's quite as bad as you're describing. But yeah, I know what it means to have brain fog. It's annoying.
Well, this was like next level. This was like, I need to get tested for dementia.
Hmm.
It
Wow.
was bad.
Hmm.
It was significantly bad. And I did fall into some depression because it was kind of my dream job. It was at a botanical garden and it was beautiful. And I loved the people and I loved the job. And I had to leave
Hmm.
because of my health. And nobody could help me and nobody could figure out what was wrong. And
Yeah.
I couldn't figure out what was wrong. I mean, it was not fun. My
Yeah.
husband and I own our own business. I was also helping him in his business. And I had to even quit doing that because I was making so many mistakes. And my husband couldn't trust me anymore. It
Wow.
was devastating. It
Hmm.
was absolutely devastating.
Hmm.
And I was scared and I was lonely and it was not fun. It was not
Hmm.
fun.
So when all these things were going off, and these sound like the dark days, and it doesn't sound like years, so like you said, it's been decades sort of a struggle, like you said, like just endlessly going down with little peaks probably, but always going down. Um,
Unfortunately, there weren't any peaks in my
no,
health.
no.
No,
Hmm. And
no,
then
it
a few
was
years
just a
ago,
gradual decline.
yes, and with that, so it was a holistic practitioner that kind of
Mhm,
started it all. And that was
mhm.
was that a climb up, or was it more like you just had loads of options and you felt optimistic because you had many tools to try and experiment with?
So here's my theory. All of that helped to some degree because I'm still here, because I haven't been diagnosed with anything super heinous yet. I do have some challenges, but I have for the most part remained essentially functional-ish. In 2015, when it got really bad, I was one step away from bedridden. So it was pretty bad, but so many people have it so much worse. So I can't say that everything I did didn't work because it did. It just wasn't enough. And yes, I did get my hopes up every single time I saw a new provider who promised they could help me and they promised they could turn my health around, and it never worked
Mm.
to to what I needed it to do. I
Yeah.
can't say that it didn't work completely, but I still continued to decline.
Yeah. Mm. That sounds like hell on earth. I
It
mean, it really
is.
does.
It is. And it is such a lonely, I can't even tell you how lonely and helpless a person can start to feel. And I know there are millions that had it so much worse than I do. They still do.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine how dark and how lonely they have felt. I mean, it almost cost me everything. It almost cost me my marriage.
Mm.
It cost me a job. It cost me almost all of my friendships. It's not, this mystery illness stuff
Mm.
and these invisible diseases.
Mm. Would the friendships
It's
be
not a
because
life.
no, would the friendships be because your friends couldn't trust you because you didn't remember their memories with them? Like,
Because I always canceled. I didn't have the energy to participate. I was rarely happy. I
yeah.
wasn't a joy to be around.
Mm.
Invitations started coming less and less.
Mm.
I stopped reaching out because I just didn't have the energy. I didn't have. I mean, I there were days when I would go from the bed to the couch to the kitchen to the bathroom to the bed.
Wow.
That was what I was able to do that day. It was bad. It was bad.
Mm. Crazy. And I don't remember when we got connected on Facebook. So if we go back to like 2, 3 years ago, did you do the
Mhm.
Lifeway patches? Were you involved with them?
I do still do some patches. Yes,
Did you
yes.
find them beneficial?
Yeah, to some degree.
Hmm.
Um, but then, kind of similar to everything else, it was like it's just not enough.
Yes. Yeah. Hmm.
There were times when I was like, wow, these things are amazing. And then there's other times where I'm like, what happened? These patches are not working.
Mm.
And I can't blame the patches. I know it's my body. But yes, I did do the patches. I actually kind of came into this community through Jill and entered the Detox Girls community about 2 years ago. And I lurked and I watched and I lurked and I watched. And by this time I had grown so pessimistic and hopeless that I just didn't want to try another thing. I was so over it. I had tried so many things from so many providers, all of the best supplements, all of the best healing tools, all of the best alternative healing modalities and energy work. You name it, I've probably tried it, but um it just wasn't clicking. It
Okay.
just wasn't turning my life around. And it was finally when I decided to just give detox one more try.
Yeah.
And that was when we were with a different product before Root.
Was that the piece? Remind me what that was called. It was a zeolite.
Yeah, it's PB and PBX.
PBX. There we go. Yeah.
And I can't even tell you what a monumental waste of money that was. It was such
Really?
a joke. I
Really?
experienced absolutely nothing but more frustration and more loss of money. I really feel like I was taking very expensive water.
And did you blame the detox girls for that at the time?
No,
No.
no,
No.
no,
Because they believed in
absolutely
it, right?
not.
They were believing in it.
So here's the thing that I understand now about that company.
Hmm.
They did have a decent product and they switched the formula. I came in after they switched the formula.
Right. I heard about them switching the formula, so you came in after. Got you. It was to do
Yeah,
with saving money. Am I correct?
it always is.
Yeah. So there we go. Yeah. So
It's
Eddie
always
Stone.
about money. Eddie, yeah,
Yeah.
his name is Eddie Stone. Um,
Yeah.
there was some shenanigans that went on between the boys club and the detox girls. They were actually pretty disgusting. And
Oh
when
yes.
Eddie
I know
was
you can.
approached about this change in formula and the change in color, and is there something going on here? He didn't confirm or deny, and that's a pretty blatant answer. So
Hmm.
they made the really difficult decision to cut all ties and tell their customers, I don't know what's going on, but we can't trust this, and we have to be honest about it. And they did. And shortly thereafter, they met Clayton, and Dr. Christina got on the call with Clayton. And I'll be honest, I really didn't care. I was
Really?
so over it. I don't want
Really?
to try another
Yeah.
thing. I've tried all of the detox binders. I'm over it. I'm done. I don't want to hear it.
Hmm.
But I lurked and I watched and I lurked and I watched and I asked questions. And honestly, I prayed about it and I heard, what if it works? So I went ahead and gave it a try.
Yeah.
And
When was it? Can we date it? When was this?
yeah,
Was
that
it
was
last?
that was July of 2021.
Okay,
That
so last July. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so 18 months.
Hmm.
And I received my first bottle of Clean Slate. Um, and I did hold it for a moment, and I was like, Lord, I really need this to work. I don't even care if it's a placebo. I really need this to work. I am slowly dying. I am not living. I need this to work. And I just, just kind of got really neutral about it and got really clear about it. Opened up the bottle and took a drop on my tongue because I knew I was very sensitive and I didn't know what it was going to do. And I was like, oh my God. And I'm not kidding you, Harry. When I put that drop in, I felt it in my whole being. I felt it outside of me. I felt it around me. And I just went, what was that? I assumed it was my intent and it was my prayer that, I really need this to work for me. I
Yeah.
assumed it was that.
Hmm.
It wasn't that. I'm just very energy sensitive. And it was really the energy of the Clean Slate. I by the second day, I was already seeing changes within my body, and I denied it. I assumed it was just coincidence. I assumed maybe I just drank plenty of water that day. There was a lot
Yeah.
of assumptions
Do you mean,
going on
like you
because
said, after a lifetime of giving up hope, and all of a sudden you're probably in denial mode, still trying to catch up in it? Like,
I was so resistant. I was
mm,
so pessimistic. I was so resolved to, this is probably going to be a slow death for me. And, I should back up to March of 2020. Um, I haven't shared this very broadly and widely because I get very emotional about my experience, but I have shared it with a few people. When we heard about this whole pandemic thing, and we started seeing footage coming out of China and people literally falling over in the streets and hospitals filling up faster than they could keep up, and people on ventilators and people in isolation. And it was a lot of fear porn, right?
mm,
It was a lot of fear agenda. And I looked at that and I thought, well, I'm a goner. This is what's going to do me in. There's no way my body's going to be able to handle an illness like that. I knew my body was not going to be able to handle an illness like they were telling us it was. So one afternoon, I just laid down and told God I was ready. I asked him to take me slowly or not slowly, peacefully and gently, because I didn't want a slow, disgusting hospital process full of tubes and medications and watching my family go through, watching me die.
mm,
I literally just surrendered my life
mm,
at that point.
mm.
And there were a lot of tears and there's a lot of emotion. And I wrote some letters and I just surrendered and cried myself to sleep. And it's much to my surprise, here I am. And I woke up and I knew something was a little different. And I said, I guess you don't want me. So you need to help me get on with living because this is dying. I am in the death process. I cannot serve anybody this way. I can't serve my family this way. I can't serve my friends this way. I can't serve humanity in any capacity. I'm a slug. My life has no purpose. My life has no meaning. I'm just slowly dying. And I begged God or the universe or the Lord or whatever it is that you want to call it. I don't know what to call it. I just know that's something. And I begged, I said, please show me how to heal. Show me what I need to do to heal this body and to serve and to make my life worth something. And I'm not saying I need notoriety and I don't want to feed my ego. I need purpose. I need to give back and I need some kind of meaning. And I didn't have it. I just had a death process going on. So clickety click, and eventually somehow I found this MTHFR group and I found Jill, and I I guess I can say my prayers were answered.
Yeah. Yeah. So that
So
was March 2020. The clean slate was invented in 02, as you know, 02/02/2020. And
yeah,
I
and
didn't
I
believe
didn't
it.
learn about it
Yeah.
until a year and a half later.
Right. You did, and I was slow too, to be honest. I came a year and a month after I had given a free bottle. Do you know Sandy Gold? He has his own
Yeah,
awakening story.
yeah,
I have my own
yeah.
story with supplements promotion. So you came after, and the detox girls came because of, do you know Carrie Ann? I'm not sure if you
Hmm.
know Carrie Ann.
I
So
do.
me and Carrie Ann struck a deal. I'd support her with Black Oxygen, and she'd get the detox girls under her. So they
Okay.
came because I decided to do the Black Oxygen thing, but I was really focused on Root, and I really didn't want to do the Black Oxygen thing. So fast forward that, the detox girls, do you want to talk a little bit about them? So the detox girls were PBX, and they made a decision to move because that's a big
Mhm.
deal.
It is a
Um,
big deal.
and was it based largely on the fact that what you said, the saving of money and the unethical stance of the product, it wasn't delivering results. So they yeah, it was a huge deal when they moved. I don't remember
It
when
was a
they moved.
huge deal because, you know, again, they had been with Touchstone for a while, and a lot of people were seeing great results. A lot of the symptoms were disappearing, bodies are starting to heal, people are starting to feel better. And at some point there was a shift. You could see it in the product, apparently. The color was different. I think there was a really different appearance, not just in color, but in taste. And from what I understand, now remember, I came in a little later, but from what I understand, people started to see their symptoms returning. They
Really?
weren't feeling good again,
Whoa.
that things were changing.
Right.
And they asked, you know, of course, you have to ask the person who's making the product, hey, something's going on. Has there been a change? People are not feeling good again. And, you know, their kids are not feeling good again. And there was no confirmation or denial that the formula had changed. That's an answer.
Hmm.
When you can't definitively get an answer from the people who are making your product, no, we didn't change anything.
Right.
What's going on? Tell us more. There was none of that.
No.
It
On top of that,
wasn't, it
didn't
was,
wasn't Clayton involved, the founder of Root, involved somehow with Eddie Stone?
he knows Eddie Stone, and he also knows the gentleman from Cosiva. I don't remember his name, but
Mhm.
from what I understand, I think the three of them had worked together at one point.
Yeah, I think so. I think
And
he knew about the changing of the formula himself, which
he did,
motivated him to create the company, because
right?
he saw the unefficacy of the same as the
He
detox girl saw it.
That's right. Now that you say that, I think he knew the formula had changed. He didn't agree with it and he left.
Yeah, and through divine
So,
synchronicity in his own path,
yeah,
met a mad savant genius who we love.
yeah,
Um, did you? She's amazing, and
yeah.
their relationship and partnership is very inspiring in many ways. And they created this. Um, you know, when I took my first drop, I felt it. When you were talking about your first drop, I felt exactly the same thing. I
Really,
mean, I've never taken a supplement. I've never been big in supplements, don't get me wrong. I've not tried
me
everything. But at
too.
this point, I'd never taken a supplement where within the first drop, I could feel like something going on within my body. I could literally feel it in my body. I didn't,
Yes.
and I was like, this feels really nice. And it slowed my breath down a lot. And I know when my
Yeah.
breath slows down a lot, that's something good. So I was like, I think I'm going to promote this, which I did. And I blew up quite fast. I went quite fast, talked about it because everyone thought I was just about urine and I wasn't. And I was now promoting this. And yeah, fast forward it to um, us here, the Detox Girls, and you came under the Detox Girls. You tried it, got results. And now, oh, let's go back. Let's not go too far. So the product was good. So you was like, for you, that was a miracle, lifesaver. But then guess you felt a calling to, because the rewards plan's great for it. I guess you had a calling to share what you knew about it to people that you had influence over.
So when I woke up off the couch that day and I said, please show me how to heal, the other part of that that I forgot to mention was, if I figure this out, I will share it with everybody that will listen. Because again, I know how lonely and how lost people can feel when they've tried everything, they don't know what to do, they just can't figure it out. And I do every single day share with anybody who will listen that there is something that we can do. There is hope. There is a way that we can heal. So that essentially that's what I do was, and I've said it for years. If I ever figure out how to heal this body, I'm going to tell the whole world,
Yeah.
and I'm going to move mountains. And I'm not changing my mind about that. I absolutely intend to share what I have experienced with anybody who wants to hear it. I have no agenda. My only motivation is to try to help people heal the way that I've been able to heal, from a place of understanding what a shit show it can be. So yes, I actually was one of those people who took advantage of creating a link and just sharing it.
Hmm.
I have never paid from our bank account for any of our root products.
Really? Oh, wow.
I have never
Even the
paid
first bottle?
even the first bottle I started sharing
Wow.
before I even took any,
Hmm.
because I had been lurking for so long, and I really dove into videos with Dr. Christina. And I knew there was something major about her. I could feel a kinship that I couldn't really describe. I could feel her on a soul level. Like, there's something about this woman, and there's something about her work and her genuine um, desire, and her genuine demeanor. There's just something about her. And if you've never seen her videos, or if you've never met her, this is probably just sounding like I'm a fangirl, but you've met her, and you've seen her speak many times. I'm sure you know there's something really different about her.
Yeah, twice now. Very
And
honored. Yeah.
yeah, I've met her twice too, and
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's like I've known her forever.
Hmm.
There's something that I can't quite put my finger on, but it's like I've known her forever, and I just really believe in her work.
Yeah. So you shared it. You've never paid for the stuff, but because the rewards plan and the people trying under you, you was able to get your own bottles and stuff. And then, we spoke privately about this. Do we agree that at the beginning you were sort of like hoping for to build a business from it? Because like I'm guessing at the time you didn't have a job and you wanted to do better. The detox girls were doing sort of well, I guess, at this time. So that was inspiring you, but you were struggling like to get, because you knew it was powerful, right? But I mean, if you know something's powerful and know to, when I say struggling, I guess, do you mean you were telling a load of people no one was buying and trying, or just giving up on it?
So when I lost my job in 2015, I had also really, I knew that was my last traditional job. I knew that was my last job. I was done trying to fit a square peg in a round hole, and I started network marketing, essentially social sharing. I was with a different company at the time, and I just didn't have a passion for the what I was doing. I liked it, I enjoyed it, I liked the product, et cetera, et cetera. But it really wasn't until I, until the detox girls found root, that I really resonated with, this I can share, this I believe in, this is different. There's
Hmm.
something about this woman's work that I feel with all of my being. I felt a connection with, not just with the product, but with the woman who was making it. And I had a lot of faith. It was a lot of faith to just share this without ever trying it. But
Yeah.
here's the thing, because my body is so weird, it's like I live an opposite day. What works for other people just does not work for me. And people say, "Oh, this gave me so much energy," blah 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 blah. It knocks me out. If something gives you energy, I can guarantee you it's going to knock me out. So
Yeah.
I can't take my personal experience with any product and expect that to be anybody else's story.
Hmm.
So that kind of played into why I was comfortable sharing it too, because I saw so many testimonials and so many transformations. I didn't need my own experience, because my own experience has been really weird and kind of messed up.
Hmm.
And in hindsight, had I waited to share until I saw what this product was going to do for me, I would have withheld healing from 170 people.
Whoa.
And that was just
Yeah.
my direct shares,
Yeah.
not the people under me who has also shared. There are over 1,000 people in my personal organization alone that would not have had access to this healing if I waited.
Crazy. Yeah.
Isn't it?
You're talking about your entire downline. People that
Yes.
you don't know that have done it because of you, like in a way, I'm because of you, and then
Yes.
Sandy is because of me. And yeah,
Yes.
this downline system is all nuts. And that's why it's on a mission that we really heal people. And
Yes.
it's really good for for rewards too. So
Yes.
because you've got such a huge downline, we spoke privately, you actually, I'll confess to everyone here, you do better in the business than me, and that's okay. I mean, because we're all helping people.
And I would have never known. I had
Yeah.
no idea that was even possible.
I've got to try and make myself humble sometimes, and I'm okay with it because I know that, for example, the rewards isn't truthfully all about the money. It's about knowing that I've done good work, and someone like you wouldn't have tried it if it wasn't for sadly of me and God, this is the
Yeah.
reward really. But
Yes.
now we can move a little bit to the did you say you were struggling a little bit at the beginning? So you knew it was powerful, but I mean business wise, and
So
then
I really didn't know anything about how to socially share successfully. I made all of the wrong mistakes. I made all of the normal mistakes that everybody makes when they get into this business, doing it all wrong,
right.
saying
Mm,
all the wrong things. I mean,
yeah,
that's just kind of how my life has been. I make all of the mistakes along the way, learn from them, do better, learn more, do better, learn more, do better.
yeah.
And um, yeah,
Mm,
it has been a long road. Last November 30th to 2021, I hit silver, and I was very excited about that because
yeah.
that was the most success that I had ever had since 2015 when 2017 when I started sharing anything. And
Mm,
I was like, this is fantastic. And
yeah.
again, it's not the success. It was my mission to reach as many people as I could to try to help them heal. And I was like, okay, now we're getting started. Now we're getting somewhere. Now I'm starting to reach some people. And it literally wasn't until November 28th of this year that I finally hit gold.
Yes.
That was a very long, slow year because when, like I said, I'm a very impatient person. When I want to help people heal, I want to do it now.
Right. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
want to do it en masse, and I want the whole world to know about clean slate. So to go from one level to the very next level in 12 months was like, you gotta be kidding me.
But
Where are
also
my
to add that
people?
there's a huge difference between in the rewards plan between a silver and gold in terms of the volume and the amount of people you help. I mean, there's quite a difference in the numbers.
There is a difference, but when I started doing this, I had a number in my head of the people that I want to reach, and I feel this immense pressure for some reason to like heal humanity. It's ridiculous. I know it is. It's ridiculous.
Mm,
But it kind of comes from that day on the couch when I surrendered my life to healing myself and trying to make sure that I reach as many people as I can to help them heal too. And I'm a Scorpio and I'm impatient and I want it all yesterday. I want, I want the entire North American continent to heal
yeah.
because it is possible. And shifting the paradigm takes so much time on the human level, on the physical level, because we can shift our paradigm in a minuscule millisecond in our minds. But to get that to trickle down into humanity is such a slow, torturous process.
Mhm.
When you're there in your mind 30 years ago
Mm.
and you're waiting for it to trickle down to humanity, sometimes it's just like, come on, let's go. Let's do this. We can do this. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. Is it okay if you do another start another Zoom? Possibly we'll do part two on this. Is that possible?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'll see you back in a second. I'll
All
edit this.
right.
Yeah.